Hey everyone! Today I'd like to talk about three of my favorite non-book related cultural things that I experienced this month. So let's get started. My first favorite thing this month is a television show that I'm absolutely loving, and it's called Friday Night Lights. You've probably heard about it and believe the hype. I actually watched the first season a few years ago and I loved it, but the second season, like 20 minutes into the first episode of the second season, I was like, this is not the same show I was watching before. And I just shut it off and stopped watching it. And I didn't watch it for years. And then I was just reading, just the other day, I was reading somewhere that it's okay to skip the second season because the show returns to form in the third and fourth, and nothing that major happens in the second season that makes it impossible to just start at the third. So I've started rewatching the show at the third season, and it delivers. It's so good. In case you don't know anything about it, it's about a high school in Dillon, Texas, that's obsessed with football, and it's the sort of football town, and it follows the lives of people on the team, the coach, the principal, and it's just such a good teenage soap opera drama, and it feels really fresh. You're really seeing this part of Texas and this culture that is foreign to me. I didn't They didn't play football at the school I went to, and it's just really fascinating and amazing. And like a lot of sports movies or sports books, it is so much more about the human relationships than the sports. I am not an athletic person in any shape or form. I like sitting and reading and staying inside. I would do that all the time if I could. Anyways, yeah, Friday Night Lights, highly recommend. Take a look. My second favorite thing I did this month was listen to the podcast Undisclosed. Now, if you haven't listened to the podcast Serial, the NPR nonfiction journalism smash hit from last year, you have to listen to that first. Undisclosed is not worth listening to if you haven't listened to Serial already. In case you didn't know what Serial is, it was this podcast that came out last year which explored this real life murder case that happened 15 years ago. Unlike any crime book or detective movie that I've seen, this podcast really made you feel like a detective. Like you'd be sitting there listening and you'd be hearing these interviews, and you'd be listening and thinking, is this guy lying to me? Is this guy telling the truth? And you really had to sit there and think it through. And you never got an actual answer, but it was a really fascinating and intense experience. And for those of you like myself who got completely obsessed with this podcast, Undisclosed is the perfect antidote to that, because the hosts of that show go through the entire case again, but they sort of sacrifice narrative and story to just really go into the nitty-gritty details of the case, and they come up with all sorts of interesting theories and really give a lot of cool thoughts to chew on. So yeah, highly recommend that podcast. And if you haven't listened to Serial, I'd check out Serial as well. And then for my third favorite thing this month, it was a movie that I watched with my parents back home in Canada. It's a movie called Laura from 1944. It's a black and white Hollywood noir, and it's really well done. And it's only 90 minutes, which is, I think, my favorite running time for a film. A 90-minute film is just like a jewel, almost like a short story even. It's just so perfect and digestible, and the story just like moves so much faster than a 2-hour movie. Every scene matters. Everything that happens really just plays a role. It's fantastic. So I check out that movie as well. So those are three of my favorite non-book related things that I did in September. So please comment below if you've read or seen any of those, or have some recommendations for me. And if you like this video, please like it. And if you could subscribe too, that would be fantastic. But until next time, happy reading. Bye 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 bye.